is a universal language. And I know a renegade soldier when I see one. Never occurred to me that one might come from above. Space invasion, big car chase. Truth be told, I was ready to hang it up till I met you today. So you're not from around here?
It's hard to explain. I keep having these memories. I see flashes. I think I had a life here. But I can't tell if it's real.
We have no idea what threats are out there. We can't do this alone. We need you.
I'm not what you think I am.
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? Should I have? It's a ship that made the Castle Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Castle Run Weekly. My name is Danny.
I'm Cheyenne.
And welcome to our special episode of Captain Marvel. So exciting. So many of you remember Cheyenne from, like all of the things we've been doing lately. Also our Clone Wars commentary host. How's that been going so far, Cheyenne?
It's okay. It's definitely a learning curve. Recording by myself and then recording with guests and then recording by myself. It's a lot of things, but it's really fun because I will binge an arc and it's sticking more because I'm binging an arc rather than a whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You'll notice things you've never seen before.
And if I notice something and I'm like, I don't know if that's right, I can go back or whatever, either in the episode or prior or after the episode, and then re-clarify, which is just really nice because I'm having a conversation with myself.
Absolutely. And I love your Clone Wars commentary weekly and everything. And so if you haven't actually gotten a chance to listen to it, guys, check it out. It's on our podcast feed. It's already there. So you're halfway there as it is. So definitely check it out. And then Cheyenne, you also do Star Wars Sunday on your blog.
Yeah. So Star Wars Sunday is very random. Sometimes it's movie news. Sometimes it's other news. This week, the Galaxy's Edge dates were announced. I'm not going to write about it. Everybody else already wrote about it. It doesn't matter. We know the dates now. I posted about it on Instagram. You saw it there. So this week I did a character dissection that I posted a day late. Whoops. But I did that, and it was very brief. I think it was brief for what a character dissection could be. And that, my Star Wars Sunday will change every week, but it's really fun to think of new topics. And sometimes I listen to, because I have a lot of Star Wars podcasts that I listen to, including but not limited to Kessel Run Weekly. And you guys have really deep episodes. And versus I listen to a lot of them that include the movie news. And so I'm hearing the movie news over and over and over. And while that's fine because it's different depending on the dynamic of the podcast, I'm just how can I create unique topics that people want to read about? Because reading in and of itself is already people don't want to do that. So I want to make it interesting.
Right. No, and I completely agree with you, which is interesting. I'll catch up with you after the show. But yeah, so definitely check out Cheyenne in all her things, guys. She's awesome. Great insight, which is why we're so happy to have her as part of our Castle Run Weekly team. Let's go ahead and talk some Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So the last time you joined us, I believe it was it Infinity War or Black Panther? I think it was Infinity War.
Yes, because Black Panther came out first.
Yes. Black Panther, I think, started this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're my Marvel correspondent, as it were.
I love it.
But so going into this, so did you know anything about Captain Marvel whatsoever?
Not even a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be very real. I remember hearing something about, Captain Marvel movie's gonna come out eventually, and I looked at my mom and I was like, who? I was like, that name sounds important. Why don't I know who that is? And then I remember seeing the symbol at the end of the movie on Fury's pager, and everybody lost their minds, and I was like, what? And I felt like a horrible Marvel fan, and I feel like I was one up until I saw the movie. So,
well, I don't know if it will make you feel any better, but I actually didn't know much about her either.
Okay.
Because from the little I did know, the first time I think it was the first time she was ever introduced, I could be very wrong on that, was as Miss Marvel, with a black bathing suit with a lightning bolt on it. So one of those overly done characters, if you get my drift. And it wasn't until as of, I think, the last few years, I'm not sure exactly how long, they changed her to Captain Marvel, gave her the suit that she has now, made her, freaking awesome, to be honest, because not only is she powerful, but she's a powerful woman as well, in that sense.
Yeah. And, it makes me think of, so I used to be a gymnastics coach, and along with that, I got stuck with some, sports type classes. One of those happened to be superhero training.
Oh, okay.
I got to create some curriculum based off of superheroes, and I chose, they, had given me, a baseline of what somebody had already created, and I was like, okay, I'll edit all of this, but I'm going to add in all of these things that I care about. I alternated between Marvel and DC every week, and then I got to hey, I want to make sure that I include women in this. And I was looking them up, and my coworker / supervisor had shown me, she's like, yeah, but here's all these female superheroes and villains, and they're just so overly done. And I was like, yeah, but there's gotta be somebody out there. And I think I saw that outfit that you're talking about. And she was like, and this is Miss Marvel. And I was like, who? And then I Googled female Marvel characters, and Captain Marvel came up. That version of her came up, and so I used that one. So now my kids know who Carol Danvers is.
There you go. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is and again, I don't know much about the character prior to the movie, to be honest. Very minimal, if anything. But as far as my first initial, first ever seeing the character on a page and everything, she's always been ridiculously overpowered. The backstory that she was given in the movie is similar, but not. Her original backstory almost makes her like the Marvel's version of Green Lantern.
It's funny because I've heard that. I literally heard that recently, and somebody was like, okay, so this is just supposed to be Green Lantern, and I was like, what? I didn't get that at all, first of all. When I think about it, kinda, but it's been so long since I've seen Green Lantern, and it didn't really stick with me, and Captain Marvel's gonna stick with me.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and as far as the parallels to it, so in the original story, so go ahead and preface, guys, we're talking spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie, go watch the movie and then come back and talk with us, because we would love that. Yes. But in the movie, so Marvel is revealed to be, I don't know what she was to her. I guess mentor.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if she was her commander technically, because I feel like she was a scientist who happened to be a pilot and happened to be a teammate. I don't know. And
happened to be a Kree that happened to be. There you go. There's a lot of happens.
Branches of possibilities.
Right. But in the comics, Marvel, he was a Kree warrior who crash landed on Earth, and in his dying moments bestowed his powers on Carol Danvers.
Okay.
kind of like Green Lantern with the, in my dying moments, I give you my ring, you have the power of the Green Lantern. I actually liked the change with the story because, one, it's not so Green Lantern-esque for me, and then two, it doesn't dictate her destiny by a male.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that, I mean, in generally on this podcast, we don't talk politics. We don't talk all that, which it's not something that we're intending on getting into tonight. But at the same time, I love finding the messages in movies and these stories because, yes, these stories are aimed at adults, but they're also aimed at kids. And they do teach valuable lessons, the same as Star Wars, which we talk about every single week. They all have valuable lessons to be learned from them. And they have real-world parallels. And with Captain Marvel, her destiny was not dictated by a man. She had nothing to prove, which I love that scene, by the way.
No, I wrote it down.
Yeah. It's like, prove it to me. It's like, nah, blast. Nah. It was so perfect. But I mean, just everything about this, like, in all honesty, the overall thing that I took away from this is don't apologize for who you are, for what makes you you. And I feel like that's extremely important, especially in today's climate and the things that we go through daily. And even as women, I mean, I know that I'm privileged in my ways, that you guys, you deal with different things. And I like seeing a film that acknowledges that and then also says, you know what, let me show you something and everything. Yeah. And I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and I thoroughly enjoyed, because for me, it's like not even knowing that parallel that was supposed to happen, the Green Lantern to the, like, handing my powers over, I wasn't aware of that. So, like, just seeing her be able to take the blast, survive the blast, and become this thing, and people were like, she, what is the right word, absorbed it or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like nothing about her made her absorb, like, no power about her made her absorb it. She just happened to be a strong female human that could handle it and handled it and took it. And to me, that's what made her special. It's like, you can be an ordinary human. Maybe you have extraordinary abilities like her piloting, and then something happens to you and you can handle it. And so, like, because I had no idea about that, like, male parallel, I was just like, she's a strong woman.
Yeah.
And that's important.
I have this power, but I don't know where it came from.
I've never seen anything like her.
You think you can find others?
She's just the beginning.
Well, and I guess we've kind of dove into kind of dissecting the movie, but I want to make sure that we get your impressions on it.
My immediate first impression, well, okay, like I said, I got a lot of notes here about literally a lot of things that happened.
Throw it at me. Let's hear it.
I have to mention this because I have to get my emotions out of my body. The introduction that was all Stan Lee photos, I immediately cried. Yes. And literally everyone next to me was crying. I'll tell the preteen story later, but his mother was crying. And the people next to me, they were all adults, and they were all crying, and we were all like, yeah. And it was beautiful.
Absolutely. It was perfect.
It was, God, I went in there with zero expectations. I'm going to be honest. I was like, do I even want to see this? I was like, yes, I want to see this because I need to know everything that's going on. It's probably just me being nosy, but I am so, like, that immediately put me in the mood to watch it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm here. I'm ready. Give it to me. Let me see.
How would you feel if they use that intro every single time now?
Good question.
Because I kind of feel like they might.
Yeah, I feel like they could do it for... Okay, this is me getting, like, a little overthinky about it, but I feel like they could do it for, like, introduction to individual characters. Or they could do it for Endgame and then never use it again.
That's true.
That could be cool. I feel like if they used it every time, two things could happen. Really cool or overly done and not mean as much.
That's true. I didn't consider that.
And the only reason I say that is because it was so powerful when it hit me in the face in the movie theater that I was like, oh my God. And it
I miss you, Stan.
Yeah, I was like, he's really gone and this is really hard and I don't try to think about it every day, but man, like it, and I think it won't hit that way if they use it in everything, unless it was like kids that had never seen it before, which is why I say maybe in an individual movie or maybe use it for Endgame and then don't use it for anything else.
Yeah.
Which could be cool.
It could be cool.
Yeah.
But yes.
But yeah, overall, I would say, overall, my thoughts. Really sets the timeline with the Blockbuster and the Radio Shack. And I put that in there because it gave me nostalgia, and everybody around me was like, ah, ah, and that was annoying, but it was funny. And then I would say rating, and I put this on my Instagram story, like 9.9 out of 10.
Okay.
And I only didn't give it a 10 because there are movies better than it. So
okay, yeah.
For someone that had no idea what was going on, I caught up. Like it was great. So.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And I agree with you in that. So for me, I don't feel like I would give it a 9, but it would be like an 8.5, 8, 7. I mean, I'm being technical now, but around an 8 to 9 or something like that. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Like I thought it was very fun. I loved that all of the fight scenes kind of felt like I was playing a Capcom, like Mortal Kombat style game, because like they would do these moves in slow-mo action camera, and it was like, yeah, that wouldn't happen in real life, but that's cool looking though.
Yeah, yeah.
But I love the filming, the style of fights. The story was really great too. The only thing that it didn't bother me, but I had trouble connecting at first with Carol. Kind of getting to know the character because I didn't know her very well. And as we find out, the character is very kind of deadpan and everything. And so she's kind of a smart aleck, which I liked. But at the same time, like it was kind of hard to really get a read on her for me at first. But like once you start kind of rolling and everything with the movie, it's Carol. That's who it is. It's just Carol.
I expected not to like her too. I really was, because I thought that she, based off of like everybody got real pumped about the trailers and like the fact that Captain Marvel was a tangible thing now, and I was just like,
me too.
I never really got good vibes or anything like that. I didn't really care. And I'm sorry to everyone that's going to at me now. I just like, I do agree with you on that. Like there was nothing that really brought me into her as an individual, because I'm also going to be honest. I was very disappointed that I get why when it comes to the whole story, but I was very disappointed that she was like a Kree. I was like,
yeah,
what is happening?
Yeah. Definitely starting out that way and everything. Yeah. Well, and you mentioned the trailers and everything. That was another one that, I mean, I wasn't excited about. I literally went to see Captain Marvel because I knew it would have impact on Endgame, and she was going to be part of Endgame, and it's a Marvel movie anyways. I've seen them all. Right. So, I mean, I'm 10 years in. There's no need to start skipping them now. It's a commitment.
I have no idea what happened, and you're like, I don't know.
Right. And you know me. You've met me. As far as like, you know that I can't not know story. We have our entire Star Wars podcast is about stories, so I can't not know. So they got me there. So but yeah, I mean with the trailers and everything, I just never very impressed or anything. Like I feel like with Infinity War, Black Panther, all these other ones, I was seeking out trailers, wanted to know more, wanted to see more. And with Captain Marvel, it was kind of like, looks cool. All right.
It's like, okay, I'll go see it because I need to know what's going on, but I don't really care.
Right.
I like that it made me care. And
Absolutely.
I will be honest, and this is for anybody that reads my blog, etc. When I'm rating things, 2 things. I'm a generous rater. And I rate very heavily based on my emotions. because I'm a Leo. That's who I am as an individual. I've always kind of done things with emotion in the background. So like if it made me feel a lot, whether that was rage or sadness or happiness, I'm going to probably rate it higher or lower based on the emotion that it made me feel. And that, like, it was fun. It made me cry a lot. So I rated it higher.
It made me cry a lot. I like that.
A lot gets its own bullet.
I did want to ask you, so I guess while we're on the subject of the things that we were kind of like, meh, what did you think about the way Nick Fury lost his eye?
I thought it was funny at first.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'll reenact it for you. I went, no way. Audibly in the theater, and everybody was like, what? Like, what? Are you joking? Because my reaction was very loud, and I felt really bad. But it was funny because the guy next to me like laughed at me. But I was just like, are we... In my brain, I was like, ha, that's funny. And then I was audibly like, are we for real?
Okay, I'm not alone then. Okay.
Yeah, I was just like, okay. But I still think it's funny. Like, I think they could have gone about it a different way. I think that was an opportunity for them to use humor. Because this one had very light, sarcastic humor throughout, and I think this was like your Marvel humor that you look for. It's like
yeah,
look at that.
I can see that.
A lot of things, and I'm sorry.
No, I can see that. No, I guess so. You and I need to watch one of these movies together because I literally audibly said, seriously? Yeah. Like I was just kind of like, is that really what we're doing? Because like in the previous movies, he's telling Cap one story, he tells Coulson another story, and all this other kind of stuff, and he makes it like this big, like something big happened, and he got scratched in the eye.
I think I like wrote that down too, and it was like, what he had told people. I guess I didn't. But yeah, how he was like, you told me that happened, blah, blah, blah. Or you can start telling people that it was this battle or something. And I was like, is that what happened?
Right.
You guys planned this?
Which, I mean, and it kind of makes a little sense to his character because, I mean, Fury is kind of a pathological liar. So, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, well, and I guess, because, I mean, when you simplify it down, you're like, he got scratched by a cat. He didn't get scratched by a cat. He got scratched by an alien cat. For what? So an alien scratched his eyeball out. A flurkin. Yeah. Were you expecting that, by the way? I know you said you didn't know anything about it.
Oh my God. Well, and I was... I don't know if you know who the Skywalking Through Neverland podcast are. Okay, I love them. They're so cute and funny. And they had like a ton of media with Goose. And I was like, why does this cat matter so much? Like, what about this orange cat is so, like, great and perfect? And I was like, oh, Goose, you're so cute. Like, I was very much like how Sam L was handling the situation in the movie. I was like, oh, God, he's so adorable. Like, he's just like a tag along. Great. And I was like, what? And I jumped a little. And I love scary movies. So jumping at that was a lot for me. Whoops. But fine.
It was so perfect the way that they played it too, because as long as it was going through, because I got to watch it with Kristen and one of her sisters, and the whole part where Talos kind of looks down, he's like, you be careful with that thing. Why do you even have that? It's a flurkin. And Kristen literally looks at me and goes, what's a flurkin? What's going on? And I just was like, you'll see.
Oh, God.
which they're worse in the comics. Like, they're a little bit more grotesque. Also, fun fact, Goose's name in the comic is actually Chewie.
Shut up.
I'm not even kidding.
What? A ripoff.
We could have had Chewie.
That's adorable. I wonder why they did that. I guess, would it be copyright?
I would probably think it'd probably be to not confuse it with Star Wars or whatnot. Because I've been hearing a lot of people compare Captain Marvel to Star Wars with the whole space stuff and all this other kind of stuff.
You know what? Me too.
Yeah.
I literally wrote it. I was like, I don't understand how space adventures make me feel this way. I don't remember what was happening. I think it was they had like come out of light speed. Mm-hmm. Or no, they came out of one of those weird barriers into space. Yeah. And then they like had started to go towards the planet, and I was like, "Oh!" And my brain went to Star Wars, and I was like, "It's weird how all of these are so different, yet somehow so the same." Mm-hmm. Like how Star Wars in their galaxy, it's very like everything seems to be intertwined, and in this galaxy, Earth doesn't know that there's other people out there on planets, versus they know that everybody's out there. Right. Earth is planet C53 instead of Earth, so like. What? I had like a mind fart.
Oh, and I always find it funny too that Earth is the only one who doesn't know these things exist. Yeah. It seems that every planet knows every planet exists except for Earth, and everything comes to Earth.
Yep, and we get destroyed because we don't know what's going on.
Right. But I mean, it definitely had a Star Wars kind of a vibe to me at times. And everything, especially when we get our first look at Hala, the Kree homeworld, which with that, now I do know a little bit about the Kree homeworld only because I love Nova. He's another Marvel character. I don't know if you know of him, Richard Rider. So his whole.
I've heard that name though.
Yeah. So Nova, it's like the Nova Corps in Guardians, but in the comics, instead of I can't remember what it's called. I think it's the World Mind or something like that, because that's what powers the Nova's suits, all of the Nova Corps. All of them get wiped out, and he takes on the full World Mind, and it almost drives him crazy, but ends up making him basically like Carol Danvers. Super overly powered, like godlike character almost. But they have the Kree in there and stuff like that. So when they mentioned the artificial intelligence, the what do they call it? The Supreme Intelligence. Yeah. I was wondering what they were going to do, because in the comics it's not an AI. So imagine a Rathtar without that toothy mouth with a face on it. That's the Supreme Intelligence.
Ew.
Just a giant head with tentacles.
Oh, that's great. Oh, you know what that makes me think of?
What's that?
Thing, the Maul in the Kessel Run.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of.
Huh?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was like, I'm also imagining like the baby face in Teletubbies.
Oh no!
Sorry, I put that image in everybody else's head too. Whoops.
For shame. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like, I also, I didn't know. I appreciate this sharing of knowledge because I had no idea what was happening. And I was like, Supreme Intelligence, is that like a person? Is that leadership of some sort that they just like believe in? Or is it like technology, a combination of the two? Like, what is it? So know that it's AI / was not originally AI. Clarifies things for me.
Well, and I think it's interesting too that they say that the AI manifests as the person that you admire most. I'm wondering who admires that Rathtar-like creature.
Yeah.
Because, somebody saw it that way.
Yeah.
What is this?
The SHIELD logo.
Does announcing your identity on clothing help with the covert part of your job?
Said the space soldier who was wearing a rubber suit.
Let's talk, Carol. What were some of your favorite parts about the movie overall?
Ooh, overall. Okay. Personally, because of the way that I wrote it down, I like that she goes by Veers because I wrote it like it's spelled Veers. Like Star Wars.
I was about to say, okay. I wasn't the only one that was thinking General Veers.
Nope. Yeah, I was like, oh, like General Veers? Are we doing a crossover? And Found out it was not spelt that way and why she went by that. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Overall impression of alien species. The Skrull are so weird.
Give me the creeps.
I love their look and all of that, and I love that they can do what they can do, the shape-shifting and whatnot. And I enjoy their role in the story.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, and this is just me potentially overstepping my boundaries as a moviegoer, but I feel like they could have portrayed a different alien species. I don't know why it weirds me out that they like talked like they were from Earth.
I
but
got
like
you.
their voices and mannerisms made me feel like why are they even an extra species? Or like maybe we could have made them more humanoid, and maybe that's humanist of me. I don't know how I'm trying to word it, and I'm sure somebody's like yelling in the phone about the podcast right now, being like, "You mean it like this?" But that was just one of those things that I was just like, "Oh, cool alien! Oh, they can do this! Oh, they're evil! So this is like what the 12th bad guy we've been introduced to, probably." And then I was just like, "Oh." So, like, he talks like he's from Tennessee. And England. Same.
Did you notice that it's director Krennic? Ben Mendelsohn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, he's in so many things.
So I actually have answers for you for the Skrull.
Okay. Give them to me.
Because those are some that I do know about. So I don't know if you'd ever heard about it or anything, but there is a major storyline that happened called The Secret Invasion. The Secret Invasion essentially was a Skrull invasion that had been happening over like decades and years of time, where Skrulls were replacing people on Earth. And they actually replaced Avengers and heroes and things like that. Like Elektra was the first Skrull that they found because she died. The Skrull Elektra died and immediately became Skrull. And they were like, whoa, what? Because as you can tell in the movie, it's very jarring to watch that happen.
Yeah. While we're talking about that too.
Sure.
Nobody watched them change on the beach. And I really wish people could see my face right now, because what? Like,
right.
You didn't? Nobody saw that.
It's like, I don't know, man. Weird stuff comes out of the ocean all the time. We're good.
Yeah, that's just making me like, that's just one of those like, oh, you're thinking in too realistic terms. Yes, I know. Where it's fine. But also, nobody was like, what?
Right. Somebody should be questioning that.
Yeah.
But yeah. And the reason for the Skrulls, I almost said skulls, the Skrulls' human-like mannerisms is because essentially their entire race, I mean, like you see in the movie, are copycats. And so they've already been learning Carol and learning other humans and stuff like that, so they played them like they're more refugees in this movie.
Yes.
Personally, I don't entirely trust the Skrulls still, so it's fine that we found a couple of good ones, you know? Right. So it's like, oh, not all Skrulls are bad. There's just some of them, kind of like humans. Not everyone's bad. Some people can be. I think that's the card they're playing, to where it's like, oh, I trust these shape-shifting things that can replace me at any second. And then I think, yeah, and then eventually leading to the Secret Invasion in some way. Even though it hasn't happened yet, I feel like they're planting the seed, because there's going to be somebody out there that does it, and then it's like, oh, game on. Now we have to watch all the movies to find out what we don't trust, what actually didn't happen, all that kind of stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like doing that too, it's like, okay, from the Skrull perspective, like, okay, we're building a rapport with this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you gonna choose the Skrull side when you know that the people or when you know that your alien species is going to start taking over Earth? Because he was like, we just want a home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't have ours. He was like, I'll go find one.
Right.
Like, that to me was very suspicious.
Absolutely. Well, in the way that they played out the dialogue and stuff, like, it's fine you're going to make the scary-looking characters look like the bad guys. Okay, cool. But essentially, like, even in their dialogue, they seemed more sinister. They seemed like they had more aggressive plans for Earth and things like that when they came upon Earth and everything. And then he's here pleading with her in a kitchen saying, well, we just want a home.
Yeah.
Cool. But this isn't your home.
Right.
This is not where you're going to replace people. Not happening. And so that's where I kind of don't trust it. So it's fine that they made Talos and family good. They were refugees. Perfectly fine. I thought it was great to have in there and everything where Carol got kind of the moment where it's like, oh, I've been fighting you all these years because I've been told that you're the enemy. Yet the enemy has been what's been suppressing me and holding me back this entire time. Yeah. So I thought that was a cool twist. I definitely didn't see that coming. I thought it was going to be a lot worse with the Skrulls, but I think the Skrulls are going to be a slow burn.
Okay. I can see that. I do agree with that. I also, because I'm thinking about it and I keep telling myself, say it before you forget. Correct me if I'm wrong, in Star Trek, isn't there like a gray alien that looks just like a Skrull that like steals Chris Pine or something?
Maybe in Star Trek Beyond, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
I'm not sure.
In my brain, and I'm like, maybe he'll know. I need help. Also, this is kind of like switching gears. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I went to the restroom because it looked like it was going to be a battle. And I came back, and Fury's already on the screen. And I was like, I missed Sam Jackson's entrance.
Oh.
Fill me in, if you remember.
I mean, as far as his entrance and everything, it was when they... So she crashes through the blockbuster, and the security guard calls the cops, he thinks. And he ends up calling S.H.I.E.L.D. And so you have Coulson come out and everything, and Fury's with Coulson. So you didn't really miss much. It's just they arrived together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just very like, he's going to walk up in somewhere, and I missed it, and all this other stuff. So.
Not as dramatic as his usual entrances. He wasn't hiding in the shadows just yet.
Right. He wasn't just like, I already knew you were coming.
Right, yeah. So no, you didn't miss much there.
Great. Good to know. I guess while we're talking entrances, Stan's cameo, how'd you feel?
Oh, I loved it. Did you notice what he was reading?
No.
It's Kevin Smith's script for Mallrats.
I literally wrote down, I was like, what is he saying? Because he says, like, trust me something, right?
Trust me, believers.
Okay.
I think he says it like 2 or 3 times. Trust me, believers. Trust me, believers. But yeah. Or trust me, true believers is what it is. Because he always called everyone that was a fan true believers and everything. So yeah, it was trust me, true believers.
God. And I just love her smile and his smile and the tears in my eyes. It's fine.
Yeah. Man, even thinking about it hurts me right now.
I get emotional, and I'm like, I could just like see his name somewhere, and I get sad. And it's so weird to think about how somebody that I've never met and have been in the same room with has had such an effect on me.
Absolutely. No, and I completely agree with that. Well, in to that point, so I remember where I was and what I was doing and everything when we found out Carrie Fisher passed away. When she passed away, I was obviously upset, as were most Star Wars fans and everything. But I don't know, like, not comparing anything, not saying that, but as far as like, so for when I found out about Stan Lee, I don't know why, but that gutted me. Like, I've never cried over someone I've never met. And I will admit, I cried. I sat there and stared at my phone, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, this can't be real.
Gasped and was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then I think I was at home.
I was too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I was at home because I saw it on my phone. I was scrolling through Facebook, and it was one of those articles, and I was like, no way. And I clicked on it, and I was like, yeah. And my roommates were like, what? And I was like, Stan Lee is dead. And they immediately started rolling. And it was ridiculous. I was like, what is happening to me? Like,
Right.
one of my con friends, he's awesome. And he, I worked for him at my first MegaCon that I ever went to. I was a volunteer. And he happened to be the person in charge of what I was doing. And he was just like, oh yeah, honey, like I've had lunch with Stanley. And I'm like, what?
Man.
And I think about that and I'm like, how does he feel? Like, how do all of these people, I can't even fathom. It's just, sorry, I got emotional again. It happens all the time. I gotta calm down.
Hey, don't ever apologize. Don't ever apologize.
In a funnier note, on the same train, the people trying to stop her from fighting the old lady after the old lady kicked her.
Yeah.
This old lady is obviously not struggling. Leave her alone.
That's what I was thinking. Because, like, they're holding her back and stuff like that. It's like, did you not just see this old lady parkour through the train? Like, are we missing that? Are we blind? Like...
Yeah, like, come on, stay out of it.
It's like, I get you trying to help the little old lady, but she just, like, jujitsu'd this girl in the face. Yeah. So, yeah.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Think another cool random fact. That's basically what a lot of my notes end up being, is cool random facts that I hear or find in the movie.
I like cool random facts.
Yeah, the fact that her power from her hands is called a photon blast.
Yes.
I love that because I was like, what is she doing? I was like, what? Because we learned that it's called a photon blast before we learned how she even got that. And so I was just like, okay, like, what is it? Is it? And like, they kept showing the chip in her neck. And I was like, oh, it's that. And he said it's a gift that can be given or taken away or whatever. And it's like, can it though? Because there's a reason that she can do that, and it's not because of you. I knew that much because I'm just a nerd. And when they revealed Photon Blast, I was like, dope. Cool.
Yes. Real quick about the chip that she has. Yeah. Are you caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No.
Okay. Not going to spoil something or anything for you, but...
You can spoil it for me because I'm going to be honest. I started watching that with my mom when it first started, and I never kept up with it, so I will not be keeping up with it anytime soon. I will have to binge it when I can.
The Winter Soldier arc that they do is still the best because it ties directly into that movie. It's phenomenal. Like they even have a clip from the movie play during the show at one point.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really cool. But no, so in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and not going into that whole story, but Daisy Johnson, Quake, I don't know if you got as far as to find out that she gets powers. She's an Inhuman.
Okay.
She's kidnapped by Kree, and they put a thing in her neck right there that completely, they can disable her powers altogether. So the same kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Because I was just like, I get that it can contribute to her powers, working or not working. And I was like, but like, why did she not think to take it out before?
Well, yeah. Well, and I feel like the reason that she hadn't... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I get that, like, before she thought they were the good guys, so that part makes sense. But,
sure.
Like,
yeah.
When she was not with them anymore, why was she not like, gotta go?
Well, and I feel like it was because she was afraid of her own self. Because if you think about it, so what was it? His name was Yanreg, right? Jude Law's character. Yeah. So every time he trained her and all this other kind of stuff, because he was the one that was her leader, her mentor, and everything. Right. Every time he trained her, he told her that her emotions made her dangerous and made her unhinged, and that that she had to have control and suppress her emotions and all this other kind of stuff, which is funny because all of that felt like Jedi teaching, and I was like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
Yeah. Wow, me too. Emotions are powerful and blah, 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 and all this stuff.
Right. And then she becomes a Sith at the end. Oh, wrong movie. Sorry. But yeah, so I mean, I think that in his constant cautioning of her, he almost kind of ingrained in her that she herself was dangerous to herself. Right. But even though she wanted to be more and to experience that power, there were moments where she was like, oh geez, this is a lot and everything, which makes it even better at the end, and I love this part where she does go full, like, I mean, for lack of a better term, full Super Saiyan almost, like the hair and everything. She's like full power, and it's funny because it's like she still hasn't gotten the hang of it. So like she does like these cool little blasts and everything, and launches herself back and trips.
Yeah,
I
enjoyed that.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me when Tony first tested his Iron Man suit, where he's kind of shaky, flying around with it, and then runs into a wall.
Yes, that was a good scene. That was such a good scene.
Yeah.
The thing that I found so unique about this character was that sense of humor mixed with total capability and whatever challenge comes her way.
You know how to fly this thing?
We'll see. Which I realized after going to the Air Force Base is really what Air Force pilots are like.
That's a yes or no question.
Yes.
At some point, Fury or Coulson, one of them says, oh no, Fury says like goes with his gut and against orders about Coulson.
Yes.
He said like it keeps us human,
Mm-hmm.
and I think to me, she had the realization that she was human,
Mm-hmm.
and that something happened to her as a human, and that she needs to like accept that in general.
Mm-hmm.
Which also, and I like went through and made sure that I selected the correct points so that I again. But like learning that how she got her powers was through an energy core explosion.
Mm-hmm.
Lightspeed engine. Thought that was pretty cool because then she goes to Lightspeed by herself.
Right.
With next to her, and I was like, why didn't I think that she could do that? She can do that.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. And then just something that like ties in with her whole the fact that she is human.
Mm-hmm.
When Maria Rambeau, Maria,
Mm-hmm.
when she like gave the whole speech to her and she's like, you are Carol Danvers, you're my best friend, you're this, you're a strong woman, you're a great like all of these things, that made me appreciate Carol Danvers and / Captain Marvel as a whole so much more.
Absolutely.
Because I was like, this character means so much to this person.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew none of these things about her, and these are all the reasons that she matters.
Right.
And it's like, I've seen it all in the movie, but until there's some form of emotion attached to it, it's not going to sit with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to know the storyline rather than feel the storyline. And that was just like a really important part for me to connect with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I really loved that. And what are your thoughts? Because I have more things.
In talking about what you're talking about, I completely agree. I really liked seeing her relationship with, was it Lieutenant Trouble is what she called her? Yeah, I loved that so much. It made me smile every time. And then Maria Rambeau and everything. Like, I thought it was just really cool because, like, and it kind of made me think of the other origin stories that we see of all superheroes. They're all attached to someone. A lot of times it's a romantic interest or something like that. In this, it was just a best friend. And I thought that was the coolest because, I mean, like, even Captain America, he had his best friend Bucky, but he was attached to Peggy. And it was about getting to that date with Peggy and stuff like that. And it was and nothing wrong with that. I love Cap. He's my favorite Avenger. But at the same time, they're all attached to someone romantically in that way to where it's like, oh, heartbreaking story that made you a superhero. Right. Is exactly what it feels like. And so I like seeing something different with them where they're best friends. And it's a sisterly love to where they're close. They know everything about each other. And she was there to be able to remind her, look, this is who you are. I don't care what they say, who you are. This is who you are. Because this is who I know and who you've always been. Whatever else is it doesn't matter. You are Carol Danvers.
Relevant to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
This is who you were, and this is what happens to you as this person.
Right. Well, and I like that you said it that way because it's almost like, and I'm trying to think of how to word it correctly, but it's almost like a thing. Things happen to you, but it doesn't have to make you who you are, kind of thing.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful.
I have my moments. No, I'm kidding. But that's what it makes me think of, because a lot of Carol's situation had to do with what was done to her. She took a secret mission. The core blew up and turned her into what she was. Yeah. Another reaction action kind of thing was Yanreg was a part of it. He took her to become a Kree warrior, to keep her close and all this other kind of stuff. So all of these things were done, I mean, essentially without her permission.
Right.
Which is powerful, because at her core, when she goes back to see Maria, at that point, it's, okay, I get all this stuff happened to you. I get you went and fought for an alien race that you thought were the good guys, all this other kind of stuff. You got aliens in my backyard and my kitchen and all this other kind of stuff. But you are Carol. At your core, that is who you are. And all of this does not have to define who you are, and you can decide who you get to be. Yeah, and I thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah. And like, for me too, because it not only like confirmed her identity literally, but like confirmed the fact that this was like her real friend. This isn't like somebody that she had in a memory and was like shocked to see her. Like, yeah, she was shocked to see her because she thought she was dead for 6 years. But like,
that's
shocked
fair.
But like shocked in like a how can I help kind of way, not like a I'm just floored that you're even here. Like, okay, I'm surprised and I'm shocked, but like, what's happening?
Right.
How do we get out of it? Which I guess ties into like this other thing that I took, like that he describes her, Yanrog, Jude Law, describes her as weak, flawed, and helpless. Like a Snoke thing when I found you. He was weak, flawed, and helpless or whatever. Yeah. But I wrote down, I was like, no, her failure made her stronger, because she gets, in a literal sense, she gets back up every single time. That's when like that whole flashback cycle was happening.
I love that.
I got emotional then. Yep. Wow. Add another tally. Are we surprised at all? But I was just like, wow, yeah. And like, I think I got emotional then because it made me think about my life. And that's what I love so much about these movies. I'm not going to get on another emotional tangent. I'm fine. But like, it's so important to her character, because she had to think about those human moments to utilize her emotions in her non-human superpower. I love that. It all connects. It makes me so happy. Off of all of that tangent, why does Ronan have no black marks on his face?
It's the 90s. No, I'm teasing. He hasn't quite, the grunge metal face hasn't quite gotten to the Kree yet. No, this isn't an official answer like, hey, yes, this is Marvel canon, whatever. My interpretation of it, from having those black marks and the ceremony that you see him go through in Guardians of the Galaxy, all that kind of stuff, at that point, they describe him as an extremist, as basically a rogue, that he is Ronan the Accuser. So I think that this is him, because when you have the black and everything, it's almost like ceremony, like, I am no longer associating myself with this group. I'm going to do what I think is right and do what I want to do. And so I feel like right. I feel like that's what he's doing to separate himself from the ceremony of being an accuser. Also, I thought Lee Pace looked a little strange, but...
I was just like, who is that? And then I listened to the voice some more, and I was like, okay, but he still sounded different. And then they called him Ronan, and I was like, okay, I thought it was Ronan, but like, what?
He does look very different, but I mean, I guess it would be much younger, so maybe that's it.
Well, and the CGI for these characters was great. Like the CGI I'm pretty positive they had to use CGI on Coulson.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Definitely did on Samuel L. Jackson, but like, honestly, couldn't tell on either of them. Like Coulson, I think I only could tell because his face seemed like shorter and rounder.
Yeah. He had more hair.
I was like, I don't know what's going on. But like, and they did it so well. It was flawless, honestly. Like for somebody that has no idea, like unless you're like staring at Tarkin's face that's CGI'd, which was pretty obvious, or Leia's.
Right.
It wasn't bad. None of it was bad.
Not at all. And with the talking about the CGI, so I mean this is probably the 4th or 5th time that we've had that kind of CGI pop up in the Marvel universe, because you had young Tony, which was crazy to see, because it was literally like it was young Robert Downey. You got Nick, you got Hank Pym, you got Coulson. So I mean, like, I don't know what technology they're doing, but it's working.
Great. Another thing, and I don't think my whole like tangent about the preteen is on the recording yet. But another bad movie etiquette thing that happened to me is when she's falling. Somebody's phone was ringing.
Ah.
Silent, and I was like, "That's a weird sound," and then I was like, "That's a phone."
That sounds nothing like a beeper.
Yeah, I got so mad because I was like, "Oh, like it's just quiet music." No,
man.
Got very like I'm gonna have to go to another showing, and I'm gonna have to go to like one of the XD showings and sit in the front row where nobody else is near me, and it's very loud, so that I don't hear anything.
Well, and you haven't told us yet your awful movie going story. I want to hear this.
My PSA to everyone listening and everyone that you know in the world. Tell everyone. Have some movie etiquette, please, and thank you. Movie etiquette, let's define that. No talking, no cell phones. They go through these rules in the movie theater. Be respectful, all of that stuff. They have commercials for that while you're sitting there. Listen to them. It's there for a reason. So I basically, where I was is I went by myself. So the only open seats were in like the first 2 rows. And it wasn't an XD, so I was like, no, I would rather like try to get to the middle. And there was 1 seat in the middle of everyone. And I was like, give me that one. It'll be fine. I'm normally fine. Normally I pick an edge seat in case I gotta go to the bathroom, all of the stuff, etc. There was a preteen boy next to me on my right-hand side, and it was him, his mom, his dad, and his sister. Great. Family movie night. Wonderful. They had a giant bucket of popcorn. He had his gummy candies. Before the movie even starts, he's chomping.
No.
And I cringed a little bit at that. You're welcome.
No.
That was right next to me. And he was a mouth breather. I didn't tell you that earlier, Danny. Made it so much worse.
Oh, no.
So he's chewing on his gummy candies, and I look directly at him. And I see him look at me out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, all right, he's aware that I've looked at him. He's going to not be obnoxious. Nope. During the movie, they have a giant bucket of popcorn, right? Those big glass, like the cup holder carriers that you get that are not like styrofoam. They're like recycled paper almost. Mm-hmm. And you can put your drinks in. His mother poured the whole bucket of popcorn into that for him. So now she's holding half the bucket of popcorn and he's holding it in some random, I don't know why they gave him that version. Could have got a second bucket. I don't know. It's fine. So now he's chomping on popcorn, open mouth breathing all at the same time.
No.
We got that going. He finishes that quickly. And then he starts to scrape. And I want to provide the sound for you guys, and I'm not going to be able to. But he starts to scrape at the bottom of his popcorn bucket.
What?
And like it's like salt running on almost like on a floor, basically is what it sounds like. And sucking his fingers. Ready?
No.
Every single time. I hope you heard that. Good.
No.
Okay. Every finger, every time.
No.
I was losing my mind, and I looked at him multiple times in that situation, and he didn't look back at me, and he was not getting the hint. So then I lifted up my notebook and put it on the side of my head so that he would like see big motion. And I put my hands on my notebook when I put it back in my lap, and I don't know if he finally picked up on it or if he just like got bored of doing that,
or if it was all over.
Yeah, like PSA to everyone, please be respectful. Please have some movie etiquette. And if you're a parent, teach movie etiquette, because I really should have said something to the mother. I would have said it in a respectful, kind way and said, hey, your son was not very respectful during this movie. Like, he ruined my movie experience, and I could have mentioned something to him. That's my bad. But I feel it's more appropriate for you to know that he needs better movie etiquette. That mom was really into the movie, did not want to ruin it for her. She really loves Carol Danvers. She really loves the fact that it was set in like the 90s when we had Blockbuster and Radio Shack and dial-up internet. She audibly laughed very loudly with like a aha! when the thing was loading, the CD was loading, and he goes, or Carol goes, "What's happening?" He goes, "It's loading." She like audibly screamed in the theater. She was really enjoying herself, and I like had a mini talk with myself, like, "Hey, don't ruin their movie night." Should have said something regardless. See something, say something, you know? Like, oh man. And I'm glad I got to share that with you guys. It's stressful.
This has been Cheyenne's Soapbox. Welcome. Welcome to my TED Talk.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Have a great day. You know? Wow.
But at least you still enjoyed the movie, though, right?
I did. I was immersed most of the time.
Yeah.
Until I heard that sound, I was immersed.
So looking forward, so past Captain Marvel. I'm sorry, I can't. I have a cartoony like vision of the sky. It's like the stuff that you see in Looney Tunes is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I literally was gonna be like, "Are you kidding me?"
and afterwards, he was gonna go chase Daffy Duck around, like.
Yep. And rabbit did.
Okay. Oh gosh. But yeah. So looking forward past Captain Marvel. So we've got Endgame coming up April, right? I don't think it's wait until May.
No, it's April.
April, yeah, because I think they did the same thing with Infinity War, moved it into April.
Yeah, because I was like, as soon as I get back from Celebration, gotta go see Endgame.
Yep, exactly. We're gonna have a busy April, a very busy April.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But yeah, so looking forward to Endgame and everything. So what do you hope to see from Carol Danvers?
I'll tell you what I hope to not see first. I hope she doesn't overreach, if that makes sense. Like, I hope she doesn't try to take over the Avengers.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I hope that she creates a sense of, I know what's going on here. Here's how we can work together. And I hope that the Avengers that are still there welcome that knowledge and try to work together instead of because they're all very tense right now, obviously.
Absolutely.
That last scene and what we saw in Infinity War in general.
Mm-hmm.
They're all very tense, and I hope that they don't bring that to the table. Like, I know they will, but I hope they don't bring it into battle. I hope they like sit down and are like, okay, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, here's me, and here's my fiery hands, and here's what we're gonna do. And then they talk about it, and they like kind of establish this whole thing because like she's obviously from up there. She's got to know who Thanos is, right?
I don't know.
I
mean, you got to imagine she's probably heard of him.
Right, especially at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, he didn't tweet about it, like, so, like, we don't know if she knows. I guess from the outside perspective or people that haven't read the comics, but even based on what you've told me, the comics are not really aligning with this, so, like...
Mm-hmm. It's kind of based loosely on the comics. They're taking pieces and making it their own story, but the snap, what you just reminded me... she would know of it because she would have been affected as well. Because she's trying to help the Skrulls find a homeland, but it was a half of the entire universe.
Okay, yeah.
So she would see this across the universe. This would be a universe-wide thing.
So, two things.
Mm-hmm.
In that final scene, spoiler alert, that's counting down numbers. And it looked like a lot of numbers for, like, just Norway.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if it's half the universe, why is it taking so many people from one specific area?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, definitely. Well, and that's the thing is, like, I mean, Thanos's logic is obviously flawed. I mean, there's no sound. Yeah, Thanos was right. Like, there's no agreeing in there. But like, it says half of all the universe. It doesn't necessarily say half on Earth, half on wherever, half on Hala, all this other kind of stuff. It's just half. So as far as we know, at complete random, half of everything. But I mean, as far as like the life on Earth and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I would imagine they're going to see significant loss just there, and it could be maybe like a epicenter kind of effect, like it happened on Earth, and that's why it's the worst there. Maybe.
Okay.
Stretching, but maybe.
What you're saying though.
Yeah. But actually, to your comment earlier about Captain Marvel just coming in, taking over, stuff like that, I think she will take the place as the leader of the Avengers, though. I honestly think that Endgame, which, I mean, I know we had theories back before Infinity War, I think Endgame, because a lot of their contracts are up for the actors that have been there from the beginning, I think Cap's going to die, so that everyone is united around the Avengers. Iron Man, in turn, will cease to be an Avenger. He won't want any part of it because Cap has died and he couldn't save his best friend. In which point, I believe that Captain Marvel, in her military Air Force experience, will step up to continue the Avengers. Also, loved that Fury named the Avengers after her. That was awesome.
Me too. I have that circled too. I was gonna like throw that in. Yeah, I really, truly, that moment was so sad. Like, I was as satisfied as he was when he typed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you know, as he was typing it, he was like, "This is a good idea. This is a really good idea.
Got it. It's amazing." And I'm a little sad that we didn't get to like see it
right
after he typed it. Like, we saw him delete and we saw him typing and we didn't see anything else. And I was like, but I want to see it.
Because like you could just imagine like he's typing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome. Oh, this is awesome."
Yeah. And I'm like, I know it's awesome. Let me see too.
But yeah, so I thought that was really cool. And as far as like the Tesseract and everything, so I mean, like it was something just to fight over from what I felt like. I didn't feel like there was really any value to it other than just, hey, Easter egg, she's touched an Infinity Stone before, which she touched the cube, and did you notice it didn't do anything to her?
It literally didn't move. It didn't.
Because Skull touched it and disintegrated into it. Red Skull?
Yes.
And she held it in her hand like it was nothing.
Yeah, and Samuel goes, "I'm not touching that thing."
As you shouldn't.
Yeah, and I was like, he's got a point. Like, does he even know what that is at this point? They must, right?
Just Tesseract is all they know of.
Okay.
So I don't know that he knows that it's an Infinity Stone or anything, because I don't think they actually find out it's an Infinity Stone until Loki comes for it.
Yeah, I mean, I forget that it's an Infinity Stone all the time.
Right.
Like, when they said Tesseract, I was like, oh my god, Easter egg! And then I was just like, oh, that's important.
Right. Well, and it almost felt like it was there just to remind you, hey, by the way, remember Infinity War? This is important.
Yeah. This is relevant. Still in the storyline. Here's where we are in the storyline.
Yeah. Just in case you forgot about the things that ended the universe, here it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's my in-game prediction, honestly, because I think that Cap's not going to survive it. Tony's not going to want to be a part of it. And Carol's going to take it up from there.
I saw something the other day, and I don't remember where I saw it or what, but somebody was like, Thanos better watch out because Wanda's out for blood or something like that. And I was like, they're not wrong. Like, these ladies are about to come in hot.
Oh, yeah. Well,
everybody's
Wanda got dusted, though. That's the only problem.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, what's happening?
So, well, if Wanda is, if everybody who got dusted is in fact in the Soul Stone, like everybody thinks that they might be, then it's possible that Scarlet Witch could manipulate the reality inside the Soul Stone to backfire, because she's stupid powerful. Like, she changes the face of reality in the comics. Literally whispers, "No more mutants," and all the mutants disappear. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Worse than the snapping.
Yeah, like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's harsh.
Right. So I mean, like, she's really ridiculously powerful.
Yeah. Now, okay, so Soulstone. I'm sorry that I'm keeping you.
No, you're fine.
Thanos pushes Gamora,
Mhm.
right? Her body is there. Is her soul still there? Why is she not alive if her soul's still there? Can it not, like, back in or something? And if everybody if they're all dead and that's what happens, they get trapped in the Soul Stone?
That's the working theory right now, is that they're
Okay,
all in the Soul Stone.
So if they're all there, are they there? Or is it like the underworld? Like they're all
Right.
floating around and like, what's up? Like,
Well, and that's the thing is, like, I mean, if you go even deeper into the theories and stuff like that, some people are speculating, because, I mean, obviously we don't know what happens with Far From Home after Endgame until we see Endgame, but some people are speculating that Far From Home, if it takes place technically before Endgame, that it happens in an alternate reality inside the stone.
oh my God.
So you got layers on layers on layers on layers of multiverse and all this other kind of stuff. Because right now in Endgame, we're assuming that we can get these people back.
God, I hope so.
So,
Tom Holland back? There's going to be an uprising.
well, and a lot of the theory is that it'll create kind of the multiverse thing, like what's in the comics. I feel like that might be too complicated and kind of far fetched. It'd be interesting
To follow.
Yeah, so that's the only thing is then you're diverging two lines, and the whole theory I think came about with now that Disney owns Fox, or a portion of. I think they may own all of Fox, but now that they own that company, that they have rights to X-Men once those rights diminish from Fox, which if they do this multiverse thing, it could give a way in for the X-Men. But I don't think that's happening for quite some years.
Yeah, that'll be a while. And I feel like that's so hard with, like, all of the X-Men that have already come out. Mm-hmm. Like, I get that the movie industry can just do whatever they want, basically. Yeah. But, like, I mean, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. Mm-hmm. You can't take that away from him. And you can't just throw somebody else in there unless you wait at least minimum 10 years.
Oh, absolutely.
I need to be older with children for my children to be able to get into Wolverine that's not Hugh Jackman.
Where you can look at it and go, you know what? I remember when Hugh Jackman was Wolverine.
Yeah.
That's my like, Wolverine is what you can say. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we got to give it time.
Definitely.
Making new Wolverines over here. Yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot going into all of this.
Definitely. And I feel like it really opens up this Captain Marvel movie opens up a lot of the possibility for the MCU, because now we're not only are we Earth-based anymore, the Guardians took us to space, and Captain Marvel is keeping us there, which is really cool because we got a new homeworld, we got to learn about a new culture, new race, all this kind of stuff, which even though we knew about the Kree previously, we're steady learning more about what's out there and what that life looks like, and I am all for it. Guardians is my favorite Marvel movie. Like, there's all these really, really cool ones and stuff like that, but, like, Guardians is my favorite. Like, I love it so much. Probably has something to do with my love of Star Wars, but yeah.
Yeah. Always plays a role, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I guess now we're almost out of time. So, do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to say about Captain Marvel or anything?
I would say if you're listening to this, you're probably not just a casual fan, but go see it, enjoy it. It's fun. And it's not fun in, like, I don't mean this as a bash, and it's going to sound that way, but it's not just like fun as in like Solo a Star Wars story fun. Aww. It's like fun with, I know, I don't mean it to sound as bad as it does, but like it's fun with like good information, like helpful. Solo had that too, but like not as impactful as I felt from this one.
I feel like that's a good parallel though, because both of these kind of like, even though they had their stories and you could feel for them, they both kind of were fun, you know?
Yes.
Like it wasn't, I mean, well, no, Captain Marvel really didn't have any kind of world-ending anything in this one.
No, she didn't like flip my brain upside down. She just added a lot of facts and empty plot things that I needed filled.
Yeah.
And we needed to introduce her as a character, and I think it did that really well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. So, no, I think that's a good comparison, actually.
I try. The best. What about your final thoughts? Where are we going from here?
I'm just pumped for Endgame. Like, after seeing this, it was the Marvel movie I didn't know that I wanted. That I wasn't even excited for to begin with. And going back to Solo, to be honest with you, I was not excited for Solo. I was not in for it for Solo. Then I saw Solo, and I am all about Solo. I love it so much. And I'm with that on Captain Marvel. I loved the lessons that it had in it, the message that it put across for everyone, and I feel like it's fantastic. I love it. I love everything it had to say. I'm here for it. I want more. Yeah. I can't wait for the second one.
Yes, it was great. I do agree. Good stuff.
Absolutely. So cool. So we'll go ahead and close it out. Cheyenne, thanks for coming on the show again. Now that you're an official crew member.
Yes, I love that, and I love that I can still do Marvel stuff.
Absolutely. Oh, well, you can't deny that part of yourself, Cheyenne. Yeah. You have to be who you are. No. Well, so tell everybody where to find you.
So you can find me on social media, mostly Instagram at CJerica. That's CJERRICA. I have combined the original Star Wars Disney one to that one. So it makes it easier on me and also more fun for everyone. And then my blog is CheyenneHoover.wordpress.com. If you don't know how to spell Cheyenne, it's the capital of Wyoming. It's a Native American tribe. Hoover is the vacuum cleaner, and the dam. I got all the analogies for you.
And close to where I live.
Perfect. I mostly do Star Wars Sunday on my blog. I'm trying to make more time for other things, so there will be like Disney posts or like random posts. Like if something happens to me in my life where I'm like, other people need to hear this type of deal. So you can check there and see what you like about my content, but that's it. Mostly Instagram and my blog.
Absolutely. And you can find us at all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Kessel Run Weekly, as well as our website, KesselRunWeekly.com, where we are working to have your blog and Anna's blog as well included on there. So that way, it's a one-stop shop, guys. You'll be able to find all the things at KesselRunWeekly.com, which is very, very exciting, especially now that we're on the dawn of Star Wars Celebration Chicago.
So pumped.
So pumped.
I'm really waiting for panels to get announced because gotta go.
I know. I'm there for the 20th anniversary Phantom Menace panel so far. That's what I'm there for. Also, I want to meet at my best. But that's a different episode.
I won't be there Monday, and I'm ready to be back in Orlando on Monday.
I'll try to video chat you in or something. If something cool happens, I'll be like, my friend Cheyenne.
Hi. Yeah. Jar Jar! Hello!
There you go. But yeah, so cool, guys. So thank you for joining, listening or watching another episode of Kessel Run Weekly. As always, we appreciate it if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Let us know what you thought of the episode. If you leave us a 5-star review, we'll absolutely read it on the show because we love you guys. You're awesome, and we appreciate you. But until next time, Cheyenne, we'll go ahead and we'll close this out. My name is Danny.
My name's Cheyenne.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.